We're at a local airport where Happy Hogan is getting ready to fly to Ireland.
Pepper's in love with Stark. Iron Man hogs the spotlight all the time. Tony Stark is too busy making money to pay any attention to me. I was just a fifth wheel. A one-way ticket to Shannon, Ireland, please. First flight out. It can't be too soon for me.
What brought this on? Sounds like he's throwing a baby fit. He called himself a fifth wheel, which is an old expression for somebody the situation can do without. I like to say he feels as useful as a third left foot, but that's just me. He figures they've already forgotten about him.
Oh, Happy, you hot-tempered fool. Why did you do it? The place isn't the same without you.
I never thought you'd ever miss Hap. You both fought like Kilkenny cats.
You do know what boy and girl cats do after they have a huge fight, right? Maybe he doesn't.
It's all your fault. You hadn't been such a big glory grabber all the time, he wouldn't have quit.
Pepper, really, you can't blame anyone but Hap for his low flashpoint temper. Have to leave now. Take care.
Just like you to walk out when someone tells you the truth to your face.
No, it's just like him to head for Ireland to talk some sense into Happy and not tell her about it. I still haven't figured out why.
Never saw her so worked up. And about Happy of all people.
Remember the nanny? Remember how Niles and Cece fought all the time?
I loathe you.
I despise you.
Servant.
Trollop.
Bellboy.
Brunette.
Where does Tony suppose all that high emotion comes from? For a so-called playboy, he really knows nothing about men and women. Of course, in the comics, he had something like 30 girlfriends, one for each day of the month, so he wasn't really into talking. And I'm going to digress into a pet peeve of mine. A man who behaves like Stark does is variously called a playboy, a womanizer, a stud. I know there are others, but I'm sticking with the ones that were in use in 1967. Now, let's turn that around and make our protagonist a woman who has a different boyfriend for each day of the month. What did we call her?
Whore!
If that's what a woman is, why isn't it what a man is? I have a thing about hypocrisy. The way Tony Stark treated women in the comics always rubbed me the wrong way. Not the promiscuity, but the double standard. And it's still in place today, and it still makes me angry. If a woman is supposed to be faithful and keep it at home, so is a man. Speaking of bringing things home, Iron Man is off to Ireland as soon as he recharges his suit.
In an abandoned bunker on a desolate section of the Norwegian coast.
Aha! Iron Man. How the living hate boils up within me at the very sight of him. My machine is completed. From now on, I, Count Nefaria, shall be known as the Master of Dreams. But I control the nightmare. If Iron Man dies in the dream, he also dies in real life.
Throughout his run in the comics, I found Count Nefaria a little ho-hum. He was the head of a crime syndicate that had a fight with the Avengers and lost. This episode is basically Tales of Suspense number 67, at least the first half of it. The second half had a Captain America story that doesn't need to concern us right now. I apologize for the audio in this episode. As the expression goes, beggars can't be choosers. His machine can induce lucid dreams, and if Iron Man dies in the dream, he dies in the real world too. Nefaria knows how to make that happen.
What's this? Seconds ago I was in my lab. Now I'm on top of Brooklyn Bridge. How? Why? A unicorn. And a crimson dynamo. But you're dead. I saw you die.
That happened in Tales of Suspense number 52. He actually died saving Iron Man's life.
But even if you are alive, you were my ally, not my enemy.
Allies, my research has been faulty.
Nefaria hasn't been keeping up with the comics. That's on him.
But too late now to change my nightmare machine.
Unicorn is preparing to blast me with his power home. Ah, my repulsor ray gun.
The unicorn has a weird history that I won't go into. He won't be there very long anyway, and suddenly Iron Man is back in his lab. Well, now that that's over, let's get going to Ireland.
I'll magnetize myself to this transatlantic jet until we cross the Atlantic.
What? Hitchhiking was still pretty safe in 1967. My nephew and I did it a lot, only not with airplanes.
Pecora, boyo. Are me old eyes playing tricks on me?
No, Grandfather, your eyes aren't playing tricks. His name is Iron Man, and if we just ignore him, you might begin to realize he's not welcome around here.
Why is he there as Iron Man? Tony Stark might be able to convince Happy to come back, but Iron Man is part of his problem.
Happy, listen. Tony Stark wants you back, and Pepper is crying her eyes out for you.
That's a laugh, that is. She's crying because Stark won't date her, not on account of me.
No, you're wrong. Come back. Listen to me.
Come on, Gramps. Let's take a walk, out in the fresh air.
I repeat, don't tell him Tony Stark wants him back. Be Tony Stark and tell him you want him back. For being such a genius, Tony Stark is a little thick. Before he can figure out his next move, Count Nefaria pushes some more buttons.
What was that noise? Nothing here. I have a sense of lurking danger. Crimson Dynamo. This is madness. Last time I saw you, it was in a dream. But this time I'm wide awake. No, I must be dreaming again. It's the only explanation that makes sense.
Then maybe instead of staying and fighting, he should zip away to somewhere and try to figure out why he's suddenly narcoleptic.
What? I'm coated with a thick layer of ice. Jack Frost! I've got to punch my way free before the ice hardens.
In 1941, Jack Frost was one of the first characters Stan Lee created after he took over the editor's job at Timely Comics, the forerunner of Marvel. He was only in 4 stories and wasn't really revived until 1976, long after this. Our man here is a different guy who assumed the name and had battled Iron Man before. It's nice that our creators put so much imagination and originality into naming their characters, so they make sure things don't get confusing.
Gargantus! No, it can't be! Gargantus is a robot from outer space. I smashed him years ago. He can't return.
He can't be real, but those stars around Iron Man's head sure feel real.
My flying jets are iced up. Dodge that boulder. Have to use transistorized power.
When he said he was going to use transistorized power, I assumed he meant he was going to smash the rock with his repulsor rays. I didn't realize it meant he was going to try to catch it. Okay, so you caught it. Now what?
I did it. But it took every ounce of electronic energy.
Clinging for his life at the cliff's edge, how long can Iron Man survive the endless supervillain attack?
The Melter is waiting for him at the top, but he's easy to beat.
I'll take that melter ray and swap it for an iron fist. It's like some fantastic dream. Where are they all coming from? Another attack? It's... Oh, no, not him. The Black Knight!
The Black Knight seems to confirm that this is a dream, but it doesn't change the fact that when these guys hit him, it hurts. He needs a moment to figure out what to do.
There. That smoke bomb will blind him long enough for me to plan my next move.
This only delays the inevitable, Iron Man.
While he rants and raves, I'll turn my heat apparatus to full power, directing it at my feet. Aha. At last I can fly again.
That puts him on equal terms with the Black Knight. They both fly, they both have armor, and they both have energy weapons.
Now, as the smoke begins to clear...
Okay, my little tin soldier, I want the truth out of you about all this.
But Iron Man flies on his own. The Knight needs a horse. That could be a bit of an advantage.
Never! And you're not in the clear yet. Look behind you.
I see what you mean. The gang's all here, eh?
Jack Frost throws a cold bolt and Iron Man maneuvers the Black Knight into it. One down, and thank you, Jack.
Not the way I planned it at all. He was to realize it was a dream and not fight back.
He didn't think he'd fight back if he realized it was a dream.
He don't know me very well, do he?
Even assuming he knows it's a dream, why wouldn't he fight back? That's the perfect arena to take these guys on, because as far as he knows, the worst that can happen is he wakes up. Right now, he's beating the stuffing out of all of them.
Raining power from your transistor circuit.
Not if my repulsor rays can send a blast right back to you, crippled like this. Where my energy is at the peak of its power, I can hold off an army. My armor is stronger than his. My repulsors are too. He's my inferior in weaponry. Everyone is.
Oop, there it was. The Crimson Dynamo is finished, because as we've seen many times, nothing can withstand a baroom sound effect. Count Nefaria is going off his nut watching all this.
I cannot fail now. One blasting surge of power from my machine will annihilate him, and thousands of enemies shall overwhelm him should the machine fail. He must be beaten. I, the Dream Master, can do anything. More power. More! Short circuit. My power. Machine can't take it. No! No!
Hey, Count? Count? Where is he?
Over there, and up there.
Iron Man is back in his room, realizing it was a dream. He's also realizing he made a pointless trip.
Pepper, if you want me enough to pay for a transatlantic phone call, I guess I will come back.
How about that? Pepper did my job for me while I took a nap.
And after those dreams, he's going to be a little more careful about what he eats before he goes to sleep.
So glad to have you back, Hap. We missed you around here.
If only she meant that. If only she loved me the way she loved Stark. I never would have left.
She does, but old crushes die hard, which is why she's still hanging on to her fantasy about Tony. As we've seen, Tony Stark is an engineering genius who understands diddly squat about real life, so it took him a while to see what was happening. When it finally dawned on him, he took them both aside and announced that he was engaged to some debutante somewhere. As quick as he was off the market, Happy and Pepper started getting together. And as quick as that happened, the purported engagement was never mentioned again.
Obviously, Iron Man is impervious to destruction by such means as I've heretofore been able to devise. A more deadly plan is required, and I have just such a plan.
That other machine exploded right in his face. He must have had a good plastic surgeon.
I must have time, Count Nefaria. I've tabled my cousin, Tony Stark.
You want your gambling debts wiped out? I want Stark's bodyguard, Iron Man, wiped out. Do I make myself clear?
Very clear.
And so a few days later, in Tony Stark's office, Happy, this is my cousin Morgan. Show him around, will you?
Stage 1 complete, Morgan is in. Stage 2, draw out Iron Man.
Oh there, Tony boy. I may be late for my date, if that's what I think it is up ahead.
Aha! He's taken the bait. Count Nefaria will be pleased.
There's no time to alert CIA, but to look around myself.
Why isn't there time? It doesn't appear to be going anywhere. Maybe he noticed that thing has a meter running and he's afraid of getting stuck with the bill.
I'll investigate as Iron Man. A rocket is emitting a strange glow.
Great! Stark is called Iron Man, just as the Count said he would.
Inside the ship, he hears ticking. Aha, the meter is running. So he changes back and brings the bomb squad to find nothing there. No ship, no marks on the ground, no nothing.
The Count's vision projector is one remarkable instrument.
You're telling me it projects an image that he can actually walk into and touch. Remarkable doesn't begin to describe it. You've invented the holodeck. Tony starts seeing flying saucers outside his window and the whole bit. He wonders if he's starting to lose it.
There must be an answer somewhere.
I anticipated my dear cousin's call for Iron Man. This echo ray should baffle him.
Something up there may give me a clue.
Say, I fired only once, but there are 2 signals in the sky.
Maybe your finger got twitchy and pulled the trigger twice? No such luck.
I defy anyone to say I'm seeing things this time. And nobody could dream up characters like those.
Hey, those guys are the real McCoy.
He'd better go back to Count Nefaria and renegotiate his debt.
The 2 moons have landed, proceeding as planned. An Earthman. Blast him.
Oh, no hallucination this time.
If Earthman escapes, we return to Moon in disgrace after him.
Yeah, you guys have fun with that. Their actual mission is to get us Earthlings to stop crashing rockets into the moon because they live there. They can't subdue Iron Man, so they decide to get on with what they came to do.
Fantastic. Is it part of a devious scheme the Count is playing? Unknown to me?
If it is, it's unknown to Count Nefaria, too. He doesn't seem to have any idea what's going on.
Earthman fought with noble vigor. Take him to Moonship. What sorcery is this?
What magic? It's a deep, powerful, esoteric spell called faking.
At this crucial moment, Cousin Morgan really puts his foot in.
Behold, another species of Earthman. Take him.
But before the merciless alien can squeeze his trigger, between Cousin Morgan and the attackers drops an impregnable shield.
That's enough for them. They returned to the moon, but they left plenty of evidence that Tony Stark isn't crazy.
By the way, Morgan, what were you doing here when the Moon Men found you?
Well, naturally, I had an interest in my cousin's welfare.
Okay, then, here's your chance to tell what you saw to the CIA and the FBI.
So, minutes later...
No doubt about it, this crater verifies your story, Morgan.
Morgan doesn't have much choice, and Tony knows how to reward him.
Cousin, the best way I can show my gratitude for all you've done for and to me is to send you back to Monte Carlo. In my private plane, to be sure you get the treatment you deserve.
Hey, Morgan, I think he's on to you.
The Count is waiting. He's very disturbed.
That's putting it mildly. Oh, you mean he's angry that Morgan failed. Our story ends right there. I don't think the Comics Code folks would have been too happy if they showed what became of Morgan. I wonder how much those guys got paid to be professional spoil sports.
Tony Stark makes you feel he's a cool exec with a heart of steel.
As Iron Man, all jets ablaze, he's fight and snipe with repulsor rays. Amazing armor,
As Iron Man,
a blazing bomber.
Had to fight with the... That machine split... Okay. Aha! Code folk... Spoil sports. More air.